This is AFTV VIP, the official web app with members-only content, has no ads and a live in-game match center. The bias predictor, it has daily polls and the AFTV 11 selector. Just one click away.
Hi and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that we link with a January transfer move to Arsenal. Happy Mondays. And you know, I had a lovely, relaxing weekend. It's always better when Arsenal win. I can watch Match of the Day. I can just be all relaxed. I can look at other teams' results and just kick back and I've got to say, it was sweet yesterday. Where's all those Chelsea fans? Remember they kept jumping in all the comments all the time. Yeah, Robbie, what about Ziyech? William better than Ziyech? We're going to win the league. What's it? All the players they bought, where are they now? They've all gone missing. Lewis yesterday, right? Missing. We're only 3 points behind them now. It's amazing what a couple of wins can do. But listen, regardless of all that, we've got to get our transfer business done this January. And I think you see that even you can go out and spend a load of money like Chelsea, it doesn't guarantee you. You've still got to get the right signings that are going to fit your team. Undoubtedly, I still think they did make some really good signings, to be honest. But at the moment, they're just not clicking. But anyway, it's all good. Really good. But what about us? What are we going to do this January transfer window? We all know that the main target seems to be that attacking midfielder player. Or is it? Or is it? Because, you know, it was interesting. You know, we've been linked with Isco, for instance, right? And there's been a lot of talk about Isco possibly coming in this transfer window, getting him in on a loan until the end of the season. But it was interesting that, you know, there's a lot of reports out there. And I don't know if this is genuine reports or this is just people putting two and two together, that Arsenal are kind of cooling on Isco now because of Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe's done so well that, you know, Mikel Arteta saying to himself, well, actually, do I need to go and loan a player? You know, we're all right at the moment. Smith Rowe's looking great. You know, we got him. Do I need to go and get a number 10 like an Isco? I've got what I need right here. I don't know what you guys think about that. For me, I still think we need to go and get a player in that position. As good as Smith Rowe's played, and Smith Rowe is a big part of the future of Arsenal, you need a good squad, especially at the moment. You know, all it takes is someone to test positive. You know, you saw Man City yesterday. They had players that couldn't play because they had tested positive for COVID, so they were out. Did it make a difference? No, because they got such a good squad. They were still able to take Chelsea apart. So I feel that a squad is important. You can't just look at it and say, oh, we got Smith Rowe, we're set now. He can get injured. He can get even sort of, you know, as a young player, the sort of, you know, this is the first time he's playing for Arsenal for so many games. You know, he could get a niggle or whatever. So we need a good squad if we are to try and push for. And now you look at the table, you know, you would have thought a few weeks ago I'd be talking absolute nonsense by saying this, but the European places are still on if Arsenal really, you know, can keep this run going. So it's important to have a good squad in place. Now, one player that also been linked with in that area is Joan Jordan of Sevilla. Joan Jordan, he's 26. As I said, attacking midfielder, been having a really, really good season for Sevilla. They bought him from Eibar last year for only 12.5 million. Now, if you know about Sevilla, you know that they've got Monchi in charge of, you know, all sort of football affairs and transfers there, and he's an absolute genius. He's been doing it for years and years at Sevilla, where he just buys players cheap, brings them in, they become, you know, top players, and then he sells them on for a profit. This guy's starting to look like he's going to be another one in that mold. They bought him for 12.5 million last year from Eibar. He's come in, he's done really well. He's got a release clause of 55 million pounds. But there are a lot of rumours that Sevilla would be willing to sell if they got around about 30 to 35 million pounds for him. Now, he's been asked now recently about a possible move. Arsenal have been linked, a couple other teams, and he spoke to the press over there in Spain last week at the weekend, and he said, "Listen, I'm super comfortable at Sevilla, and I'm determined to do well here, etc., etc." Yeah, we know all that. That's fantastic. But Sevilla are, as I said, one of those clubs that if the right deal comes in, they will move that player on. They will move him on for a profit. Whether they move him on so quickly, whether it could be a January move, I probably doubt that. But he is one of the players currently on Arsenal's radar. Another player on Arsenal's radar is Marcel Sabitzer. Marcel Sabitzer, of course, of RB Leipzig, has been spoken about a lot at Arsenal. Now, it's really interesting because originally it seemed like Dominic Szoboszlai was going to be the player that Arsenal were going to really go hard for this January transfer window. But Szoboszlai moved from RB Salzburg to RB Leipzig. Of course, both clubs owned by the same Red Bull owners. Now that he's moved to Leipzig, does that mean that Leipzig might move Sabitzer on? Sabitzer's 26, Szoboszlai's 20. They get a lot of money for Sabitzer. He's valued at around about £45 million, and he is a top player. Very, very good on the ball. Will be just perfect for Arsenal right now in that midfield. And he's played at the highest level. He's played in the Champions League, done really, really well. They're valuing him at around about £45 million. So that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money to pay for Sabitzer. But listen, as we keep saying, if Arsenal, want to get into them European places, if Arsenal want to be one of those top teams, these are the type of players that they got to be looking to buy. And Sabitzer, I think, would be a brilliant signing. But could it be a signing that could happen in January? January is the problem, isn't it? It's so hard to get these type of deals done in the January transfer window when it's a top player like Sabitzer. Lucas Torreira could be on his way back to Arsenal. He's been on loan, as we know, at Atletico Madrid. Hasn't been going too great. I remember at the start of the season, there was a lot of people saying, "Oh, look at Torreira, he's gone and he's doing brilliant at Atletico." That's what I'd see people on Twitter saying. I'd be like, is he? He's hardly playing, is he? He's just, he's only made 2 starts so far at Atletico Madrid. Arsenal not too happy that he's not getting a lot of game time there. And there's a lot of rumours that they might recall him, bring him back to Arsenal, and then loan him to Fiorentina for the rest of the season. Fiorentina were originally interested in taking him on loan, but Atletico was the team that got him. Torreira said to want to stay and fight for his place at Atletico, but it could be down to Arsenal what happens with him. I mean, should they possibly bring him back into the team, completely? That's another question. Could him and Partey maybe in that midfield? I'm just thinking about that because there's another rumor around today about Mohamed El Neni, who of course has played a lot of games this season. He's really been popular with Mikel Arteta. Mikel Arteta's, sort of his go-to guy. He's played in that midfield a lot. Up until recently, he'd been playing like literally every game. Now, Besiktas, where he was on loan last season, they want to re-sign him. He had a very successful time at Besiktas last season, played 36 games for them, successful loan period. I think they fell out over wages and stuff like that, but on the whole, they were really happy with him and they wanted him, on a permanent. They're still interested in him on a permanent now. Would only have to pay around about £6.25 million for him, so it wouldn't cost them a lot of money. He's 28 now, El Neni. I'm sure Arsenal want to move him on. He's got 18 months left on his contract. Do you think Arsenal should move him on? Could they say, for instance, move him on and then bring Torreira back and the position that El Neni's been playing, operate Torreira in that role instead of sending him back out on a loan? I don't know. As I said, he's been a firm favourite with the manager. You know, he's one of those players that, you know, he does a job for the manager. And sometimes managers like that. They like a player that when they bring him in, he's going to, you know, if you say he'll nearly just run around and stop this player from playing, he'll do that. So going to be interesting, that one. Going to be interesting. Will they cash in on El Neni now, or will they wait until the end of the season before they do that? As I said, only 18 months left on his contract. That means get to the end of this year, 1 year left. Socrates has got another suitor today. Olympiacos interested in signing Socrates. Of course, we know that Fenerbahce have been interested. Maybe Olympiacos might interest him more. It'd mean that he'd be able to go back to Greece, where he's from. But they are said to be interested in him today, and definitely looks like he's moving this window. It's where he's going to be moving to. And what about Alexander Lacazette? Lacazette's contract is up in 2022. I think a few weeks ago, everybody would be saying, well, yeah, all right, after that, see you later, mate. But he's been, you know, really on form. He's been proven to be a really important member of this Arsenal team. And, you know, there's lots of talk starting to be around now about, you know, is he going to be offered a new deal? As I said, contract up 2022. Get to the end of the season, we get into those familiar territory of, you know, only 1 year left, etc., etc. However, Mikel Arteta has said that, listen, they're not going to be discussing his contract until the end of the season, which I guess at the moment for me is wise. That is a wise thing to do. Let's see how he does from now till the end of the season before talking about any contract extensions, etc. However, you know, it's like if he's on fire and we leave it to the end of the season and he was totally on fire and then loads of other teams came in and wanted him, then you will hear everybody, why didn't we sign him onto a long term? It's typical Arsenal. These are the conundrums that you're in sometimes when you are trying to decide on transfers. So, yeah, lots of interesting stuff there. Let's get into some of your comments. Ian Cameron, he says, Torreira is a better pairing with Partey, but I'm not sure he wants to play for Arsenal. Mikel needs to manage the situation. Yeah, I don't know. It's I'm not sure if Torreira would really want to come back. He doesn't seem like he's been very happy in England. Would he want to come back to Arsenal? Interesting. Lauren says, reported on Sky Sports that Saliba is set to join Nice on loan. What are your thoughts? They are one of the clubs that have been linked with a move for him. Is another loan in France going to help Saliba? Or should we be trying to loan him to a club in England where, you know, if we want him to get to grips with the English football and stuff like that, you know, playing for Nice, I don't know. I don't know what you guys think. TXZ says, people playing in La Liga don't adapt quickly to the Premier League like before. David Silva, Sergio Aguero, Fernando Torres, Cesc Fabregas, etc. Joan Jordan may not adapt as quickly. Well, I don't know, man. You could look at, there's certain players that have come over from Spain, you know, this season. They've adapted pretty quickly. You could look at that Reguilon at Spurs. He's been having a good season. He looks like he's adapted pretty quickly. You know, some others. What's the name of the guy? I've forgotten his name. At Man City, he's adapted very quickly. It just seems to be all the ones that have gone to Chelsea that haven't adapted. All their signings, and none of them are Spanish. So let's move on. Ashley Smith says, our biggest problem with January is that we need to be an attractive option for big players in the summer. Yes, we won 3 games, but don't get carried away. We need a solid finish, European football. That's, yes, when you're signing some of the biggest names, of course they're going to be looking at Arsenal's position at the moment. But then those last few wins, a player will look on that and might say to himself, well, you know what, maybe a few weeks ago I wouldn't have went to Arsenal, but I can see it looks like they've turned the corner now. It's looking a bit exciting over there. Yeah, I mean, they're going to pay me big wages, which is always most important. Let's go. Football Genius says, Robbie, how likely is Real Madrid How likely is Real Madrid selling us Isco, Martin Odegaard, Anais Sakrim this winter transfer window, in your opinion? Odegaard, it looks easy to be a good signing, but it does look like Madrid want to hold on to him. The one is Isco. Isco is the one that they might be willing to let go out on loan. And I think that's why that seems attractive to Arsenal. Because, you know, a loan move, if it doesn't work out, you send him back. That's why it's attractive. And they may be willing to do that because they've got so many midfielders in their team. But let me ask you guys a question. Would you be up for that? Or do you think we don't need a number 10 now because we've got, you know, we've got the emergence of Smith Rowe and that might stunt his growth? I would like to hear from you guys on that. Pat Crawley says we need to loan Willock and Nelson. They need first-team football. Yeah, you know, Nelson might find it, he might struggle to get into the team now, especially now that Saka's been switched over to that right-hand side. You've got Willian there. You've got Pepe there as well. You can't get a game. So it'd be really interesting to see if they do go out on loan. Shujo says, I don't see us doing business bringing players in, so we should concentrate on getting players out. I do think we'll bring somebody in. I really do think we'll bring somebody in. Fancy Codemaster says, Odegaard, Lamptey, Basuma would be dream signings in the summer, but for this window, Isco sounds real. Toby says, even Solar is quality. Solar is quality, would be a good signing as well. Jermaine says Torreira and Martinez were good friends, so I doubt Torreira will return due to his communication problem. Well, listen, Mikel Arteta speaks Spanish. Fanny's tweeted, Charles Watts tweeted, Saliba might be loaned to Nice. We need to sign Sabitzer. If the board actually backs Arteta, we need 5 players out at least. As I said, the Saliba rumors are out there. Could, you know, I don't know. As I said, I'm mixed about it, him going to Nice. Although he needs to play. Wherever he goes, he needs to get a guarantee that he's going to play football. Mukta says, how about Nabil Fekir? I think Pepe should start over Abba. Nabil Fekir, to me, I think that again, that's one that's, you know, a couple of seasons ago I would have said yes. Now, Zach says, I think we should get Brandt because he's played at top tier football with Dortmund, so he has experience for long term. He's ideal and he is young. Siep says, I'm happy we didn't sell Saliba. Would be absolute worse than the Gnabry case. France is probably not the best place for him, but I'm happy we didn't sell him. Well, yeah, I don't think we would be able to sell him, you know, right now for the sort of money that we've paid for him. And at the moment, I mean, I just don't know. I really, if he does complete this loan move, I'd like them to be able to tell us what's behind it. Why are we sending out? Give us some details on it, you know? Z says, nobody talks about Sergio Romero, who's been off the radar. Too good to be a third choice. He's pretty decent. Much love from Don from Sri Lanka. Sergio Romero, I think if he moves on from Man United, he doesn't want to go and play number 2 or 3. He wants to go and start for a team. So that's why I don't think it'd be a player that we'd be in for, although he's a great number 2. Dreams Lee says, we need Ozil back. We need the creativity. Well, I don't think that's going to happen somehow. Benz says, what's happening with Diego Costa? Diego Costa is available. I don't think Arsenal will move for him, but he is available. Jesse says, I think actually the team they're talking about is Wolves moving for Diego Costa, which would make sense after they've lost Jimenez. Sabitzer is a good player, says Jesse. He can bring an addition to Arsenal, but sad that Saliba is on loan till the end of the season. Partey is back. We need a signing this month desperately. We need a left back and a number 10. A left back? What's wrong with Tierney? All right, I guess a backup left back, but I don't know. Tan says Smith Rowe better than Ziyech and Havertz combined. Now you're going to get the Chelsea fans wound up now. Where are they? Where are they? Trust me, I remember, right, when I was doing videos, live videos at the start of this season and when the season got underway and we was having a tough time, every single day, they're in here. What about Ziyech, Robbie? Ziyech. Where are they? They're so quiet now. They're gone. Right? AFC Kyle says, sign Douglas Luiz and Konsa from Aston Villa, Lamptey and Basuma from Brighton. I like Luiz. I really do like Douglas Luiz. I think that's a player that would work well in our midfield. That Konsa's good as well. He's a good player. Lamptey, yeah, Basuma, yeah, but none of those to me can happen in the January transfer window. Rohit says, yo, Robbie, big up. What do you think of Balogun to Liverpool? Listen, I hope that doesn't happen. There's still no talk of, of his deal being sorted out. And I think that wouldn't go down well at all with the fans if that happened. So let's hope some sort of deal can get done. At the moment, where does he play? I mean, I really would like to see him play in the FA Cup this week. He's got to figure. I think if he doesn't figure at all in that squad, we may not be seeing much of him at all. SK says, what about Zaha? What about him? We're not gonna get Zaha. He's too important for their team. There'd be no talk of him until at least the summer, and then he'll be 29. I think it's too late. Taffy says, since the arrival of Emery, Arsenal destroyed Ozil's stock, and now we're subject to loan signings. Our only remaining asset is Aubameyang. Well, hold on, no, we got some good assets. What about Saka? He's the one that's worth the most money right now. So there are a few assets in some of those young players. Jermaine says, Robbie, we definitely need a number 10. It won't stop Emil Smith-Rowe's growth, but it will learn from quality players. We need a hard-working playmaker, Mikel's decision, and that's why we don't need Ozil and Isco. All right, so Aman says, James Ward-Prowse, forget that. Southampton would never sell him. Football Genius says, Arsenal focus this window should be mainly on Buendia and Isco, since they are creative players. Soler and Siklan are not creative. Pitt says, buy Ruben Neves from Wolves. Good player. Don't think they'll sell him. Not really a great attacking player. Scores loads of, literally every one of his goals from outside the box, unless it's a penalty. But don't think that's what Arsenal need right now. Akea says, Robbie, do you have this feeling that Arsenal have made a terrible decision to sign Saliba? I just feel he isn't good enough for real. They've obviously made a terrible decision because Mikel Arteta doesn't rate Saliba at this moment in time. That's obvious. He's not played any games. None in the Europa League, none in the Premier League, none in the League Cup. That tells you everything you need to know, that Mikel Arteta is looking at him and saying, not ready. If he can't even play in any of those games, you've seen under 23 players play. You've seen, it's either they don't rate him or there's something in that contract that says if they start playing him before a certain time, because there's things like that written into these things that we don't know about. That's all I can think of, because it makes no sense that they haven't even taken a look at him. They've taken a look at people like Runarsson. They've taken a look at, other young players. It's just been so weird. And that's why in my head, and this is only my head because I have no proof of this, I just feel is there's something in that contract that says once he plays for the first team, something kicks in some of those payments that are still due to Saint Etienne, because it is so strange. Riyad's Well says, Martinelli or Saka, who do you think is going to grow to be better? I personally think Martinelli. Well, at the moment, listen, we got, you know, and that's another one when that guy was just saying, you know, the only player of values Aubameyang. No, Martinelli as well. How much is he worth if he gets back to full fitness? Both of those are top players. I don't know who's going to be better. It's a great problem to have. Who's going to be better? Dylan Dan says, play Emil Smith-Rowe. Been getting better as a CEM. We need to filter out in our youth as they will fight for the badge. Kool-Aid Package says Isco is a top player when in form. If he gets some confidence and minutes, he might be a steal. Kozo says Hossim Awar. I don't think that's just one that can get done until at least the summer if we go back for him. Aniket says, if I'm in charge, Lacazette should be given a 1-year extension and an option for a 2nd year. Loan Eddie and bring Balogun. Patrick says, Robbie, Sabitzer won't happen. No reason for Leipzig to sell. Plus, he won't want to downgrade right now. If you don't double his wages like Partey, but then they might double his wages. I'm not sure how much wages he's on at Leipzig, but those type of teams like Leipzig don't pay the top wages that, you know, they play over here. That's why they lose so many of their players. They have a ceiling on the amount of wages they'll play. Arsenal pay big wages. Sabitzer would come to England, he'd be on 70, 80 grand at least. And I'm sure he's not on nowhere near that at Leipzig. And the thing is about this as well, right? I want just to explain this as well. You're playing for RB Leipzig. They're a top team. They're doing really well. They're through in Europe. You know, beat Man United, they're through to the next stage of the Champions League. All those things are obvious reasons why he wouldn't want to leave. But the wages and the profile of playing for a team like Arsenal, you're on a totally different level. You know, you can judge it just off of a player's social media account. You'll be at a Leipzig and you'll have like, and I know this shouldn't be the measure, but it's just something that gives you an example of why playing for a top, excuse me, Premier League club changes your profile. You'll be playing for an RB Leipzig and you'll have a couple of 100,000 followers, maybe on your Instagram. You come to Arsenal overnight, you've got 3-4 million. You know, it's a different profile, different completely. So if you can come to England and make it work, your profile goes way up. Aman says, sign Rodrigo de Paul, created 100+ chances in his last 3 seasons in Italy. Remember, only De Bruyne doing this. Alex says, Robbie, I'd be happy if we get Buendia, Bissouma. Then that would be good. I don't think our board would spend more, just being realistic. Also, we need to get rid of 3 players. Socrates, Mustafi, and Syed is gone. I just did that one. Sorry, I was trying to do another one. Saka. Janola says Saka is the best youngster in the Premier League. I think he'll become better player over Martinelli, but Martinelli still got potential to be world-class. There's some good young players in the Premier League, to be fair. Saka's amongst those. You know, he's right up there. He really is a top player. Karan says, Robbie, we should get Depay on a cut price deal in January. Dagmar says, Marcel Sabitzer earns £73,000 per week. Well, as one of the top players at Leipzig, I'm sure if he came to Arsenal, they could easily give him 100 a week, especially as they're getting players off the wage bill. So that's what I'm saying. And, you know, the wage factor, the profile is different when you come and play for a team like Arsenal, even a team like Chelsea, Man United's, Liverpool's, you know, any of those type of teams. Your profile is way higher than if you're playing for RB Leipzig. It's just, that's the truth of the matter. Nene Skill says, Robbie, big up. I'm adamant that if Arsenal are serious, we have to be focused on Awar and Basuma. Buendia should be the backup. I think he's saying there. Let's get a few more in. Aaron White says, hi, Robbie. Honestly, Emil Smith-Rowe has always had the quality to play. Now he's in the first 11, looking like a 50 million plus player. So refreshing seeing these young players throw a couple of Prem proven with them. could be the answer. Maybe we don't need to buy, there is that. Maybe we don't need, I personally, as I said, as well, I feel the squad, as regards the squad, that's why I want to see another quality number 10 in there. Let's not be short in positions. There's a lot of games. You think of it this weekend, we've got the FA Cup coming up, which we want to defend. Excuse me. We want to defend that FA Cup. We want to do well in that FA Cup, right? So we've got that coming up this weekend. And then after the FA Cup, a few days later, we've got a league game. And then we've got, the Europa League coming back, which we want to see if we can win that as well. So we've got to have a good squad, because an Emil Smith-Rowe can't play all those games, And who comes in if he's not playing? Willock's okay, but he's not creative enough. Ozil doesn't look like we're going to see him again in an Arsenal shirt. So for me, that's why we still need to fill somebody in that position. We still have to. And that's my opinion. Sega says, would you play Willian as a backup number 10? Well, he's been considered for that position before, but he's just, I don't know, the manager's not playing in that position, and he's not delivered anyway, full stop. I think we need to sign somebody. That is my opinion on it. Listen, we come to the end of the show today. Hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget, we'll be back tomorrow with another Transfer Daily. Don't forget to check out our app, AFTV VIP. On AFTV VIP, you can get so many great features. There's videos on there as well that you can't get on YouTube. There's no adverts. So if you want, sign up to VIP. And of course, on that is AFTV Picks, your chance to win £1,000 every week, a share of £1,000 by just going head to head with me. That is also found on the app as well. Thanks for watching the show, and I'll be back tomorrow.
This is AFTV VIP, the official web app with members-only content, has no ads and a live in-game match center. The bias predictor, it has daily polls, and the AFTV 11 selector. Just one click away.